Hello, everybody. Today we have an onboard from Navak with old asphalt. This been written like 7 years ago, and the camera attached to the front of the motorcycle, so we will not see any hands of the rider, which will complicate things a little bit. But we will do our best to analyze the onboard and um, probably we will have some tips to help the rider to improve. So we begin from the first corner, and what we can see already on the first corner, I will rewind a little bit. We are riding pretty far away from the inside line. You see on the old surface, we haven't had the cornerstones here, but anyway, we probably entered too wide, open throttle too early. And well, now we are heading towards this direction, and it would be pretty hard to make this turn really fast without closing the throttle. So, and this we see here, you see, we are being pushed to the outside of the track here. So we are not making this particular spot without any, disturbance to the motorcycle. So we are wasting some time, and well, probably we can go a little bit more to the right, and it depends from the previous corner. So it is what it is. We wasted some time, but let's see what's going to be next. So straightening out the bike. And again, sorry. Straighten out the bike and going to the right part of the track. You see, we are again not using the whole track. We are pretty far away from the site, and yes, we are heading towards the good entrance point. But probably the better practice is to keep bike on the lean, so it will have more revs, and by having more revs, it will have more horsepower and torque. So it will be more effective on reaching this corner on the leaned bike that is floating towards the right line. What is the actual target for the corner entrance for the first chicane? So it was pretty good breaking point, but pretty not aggressive. We can notice that bike is slightly moving forward, not like diving in. So rider squeezing the front brakes, not fast enough. I assume. I could not see his hands, so that's only the assumption. Leaning the bike, yeah, well, pretty good on this part of the apex, and we are still braking. Here we switching off to the throttle, and well, pretty much good. Maybe closing throttle a little bit, which is unnecessary. We can hold the throttle in this particular chicane, even in old asphalt. I've ridden it. I know. Yeah, very good exit point. If we would keep the throttle, we would be even more to the left, maybe on the line, maybe in this curb in the cornerstone, which would be like the sign of really good corner exit. Here it is fine on all surface. This surface of the cornerstones wasn't like really grippy, but anyway, it is possible to use them to improve even further because this onboard is kind of faster than the previous one. And here the first like big mistake, I I suppose here by the sound of the motorcycle, we uh we are switching to the throttle from the brakes. The perfect point to switch from the throttle from the brakes to the throttle, sorry, is here, like on this curb, but not like before. It's like, I don't know, 4 to 5 meters before the turn. You see, we switch to the throttle. Yeah, it is. It gets us to the better corner exit, but we wasted a lot of time on that braking zone and turning. And here, if we would brake to the end of the corner to the apex, we would reach almost these points, like almost the curve. It would be good speed. So let's see what else we can have. Here, well, it's pretty good entrance to this long corner, but I can hear that rider is closing the throttle here to get to stay on track, actually. Yeah, that's another point of, wasted half of the second probably. Here in the entrance of this corner, if we slightly shift to the left, so if we continue leaning to the left, we will prepare the better trajectory into this corner. So we will not need to close the throttle to stay on track, and we will hit the like furthest side of the side curb on the exit of this corner. So here it's a slight mistake, but it makes us to close the throttle, which is, well, wasted time. And it is a kind of slight difference in the trajectory, but it makes a lot of difference at the end. You see, we needed to close the throttle on this corner. So here is some traffic. And I believe rider wanted to go the different trajectory, but at the end he made it almost almost good. Like, let's switch a little bit back. Like here, we have to aim to this spot on the brakes, but because of the traffic, I believe we couldn't make it normally. So it's hard to judge the rider here. So we are wider on the entrance. We leaned pretty aggressively, and probably we're preparing the exit from the corner. Now we're straightening up the bike, which is unnecessary. We're like losing the corner speed. You see the bike straightened up a little bit. We are going wider, probably to get some speed. And, well, again, missing these right side apex because, well, it's the traffic. This guy is slowing us down. So, and because of the trajectory, we have to close the throttle because we are too much on the left. Ideally, we have to be on his place and still hold the throttle fully till maybe this point, and then we have to start braking towards this outer curve that we already see from this point. But, well, traffic. This is the interesting part because I assume rider wanted to go uh, it- on this trajectory, like on this line, and because of the traffic, rider actually did the better trajectory. Like he hit this point of the outer curve, and he was prepared to go on the inside curve and really good exit to the really long part of the circuit. You go with the open throttle, which is our target. We need to make as much straights as possible on our way through the track. See here, and he's looking on the exit of the corner, and he will have much better exit from the corner than the rider ahead. See, better exit. We are lacking here of the early shift. I couldn't hear it, but let's try again. Doesn't sound like, but maybe a little bit earlier, like here. Feels like we're just closing throttle here, which is unnecessary. This is the full throttle turn. And here we are slowing down too much, even though, yeah, well, it's a track day. It should be a safe environment. So we are not aggressively going in this corner. But in the racing situation, or if you want to make a really good corner out of this, you have to hug this side of the track on the throttle and start braking from this point towards there. So you will go in, and these riders will slow down too much. And well, it would be maybe it could be even safer actually to go inside on this corner, and it would be faster for sure. You see how much space we have between us and the right curb. It's like unnecessary waste of space, and we are cruising on the stable throttle because we target fixated on this rider. So it's pretty huge waste of time. But this is good. We are going outside, so we're preparing the overtake on the straight. But we are, well, probably because of that rider that is somewhere here, we cannot see him. We are not making this apex, this curve. And the danger of this particular corner is when you're riding a little bit before, you could not see the outer curve of the straight. It is a straight, but it's really hard to see because it's in a slight lean towards outside. So it's really hard to understand. Are you making it or not? So the really important point is to hit this curb inside, and it's like much faster rather than going out, wasting that amount of space from the inside part of the track and everything like that. We are making it pretty wide, so in ideal situation, in a full throttle, we are hitting left part of the track. In the ideal situation, we cannot do anything. We just go really fast, and bike is just pushing us outside. This is a good start. Pretty early braking, I believe, but it's hard to see because it's the old layout, and well, I don't remember exactly the breaking point of the old layout. This curb could be cut. So we are opening throttle like here, which is pretty good spot to open the throttle. And we are almost making this turn, which is suboptimal probably. I don't remember because on the new surface we have this kind of trajectory, and all surface we couldn't do that. So it's hard to judge. Probably I would advise rider to try to brake to a little bit longer, to turn bike a little bit more, and to not to struggle with this trajectory to go full throttle because, well, we are wasting. We want some time on opening throttle early, but now we have to close it a little bit to make this corner. So it's suboptimal. Yeah, we're still making it. You see, really dangerous situation, but it's a good exit. We are almost on the line, which is, well, what we are aiming to, aiming for. Well, pretty good braking point, pretty good positioning on the track. Well, not absolutely optimal, but pretty good. And missing the apex, which is, well, on the beginning of the video, we assumed that, and well, it is what it is. And the additional info about the old track layout is that somewhere here, or maybe here, there was the good line with a pretty flat surface, and then some bumps like this, and then again, good surface. So the point of riding was to hit this particular spot with the front and rear wheel. It is like a couple of centimeters on the left from the curb itself, and it is like this. Here is the wave of the asphalt, like uneven surface. So either you go really wide and wasting a lot of time and, well, energy and everything, and either you hit this particular sweet spot and you would be fast. And you have to hit it on the brakes and switch from the brakes in the mid corner. So it's something about the previous surface of Navak. Here you see we are missing the apex, and again we're switching too early to the throttle, and well, missing the next corner also. So it's the end of the video. Much better lap than the previous one, but still a lot of things to improve, and well, traffic. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.